I think what we could do is to make our voices be heard and partner with other policymakers and stakeholders outside of our countries. So seeing that we're currently in a pandemic, I think this is the perfect opportunity to utilize partnerships so that globally we can come together and create a change to facilitate the utilitarian law, the greater good for the greater number of people, to see how best we can reach out to our children worldwide to help them to access education and also to continue the education process, especially during pandemics and also moving forward, because the world will not go back, it will only move forward.
Hi Santana, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Hi, good morning from my side, which is in the beautiful island of Jamaica. I am doing wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm great. So it's the evening time for us.
Great, you're welcome.
So to start the podcast, I have this question for you. What were your childhood
Yes.
ambitions, and give us a brief background of the culture you grew up in?
Okay. As you know, Jamaica is a Caribbean island, one that I would say stands out among the rest. I am trying to be patriotic, as you would have been observing. So here in Jamaica, life was not as bad as many persons who live in the first world country would view it. And so I lived a pretty comfortable life with middle class parents, my mom, who is a teacher, and my dad, who works in the tourism industry. As a child, I wanted to become a flight attendant. And the reason for that is because I wanted to travel the world. I knew that there was a bigger, world out there from what I was exposed to here in Jamaica. And after, gaining experience and realizing the job description of a flight attendant, I said, no, I need to, serve at a bigger level, at a higher level that will also allow me to travel the world. So during my tenure, I still traveled with that aspiration in my mind. And it so happened that now in my future, I, was able to gain employment, which gave me the opportunity to travel the world, to travel to countries such as continents such as Africa, Asia, Europe, all over. So based on what I'm saying, you are able to see the childhood link with the reality that I am now experiencing.
Okay, so how many countries have you traveled in total? I'm just curious to know.
I think I've traveled to over 30 countries so far.
Oh, damn, amazing.
Thank you.
So what is that one thing that drives you every morning?
The passion to serve and to help others to achieve their fullest potential. And with that, to start my day, I normally start with walking in the mornings, like 4 a.m., 5 a.m., to give me the necessary energy and drive that I needed to take on all the tasks that I have ahead. And with that said, it motivates me to get up each morning and to meditate with, and also to take part in the regular exercise regime that I have, so that I can go out there and serve, and not only serve, but serve passionately, so that others can see that true burning passion and be inspired by it.
Okay, so was there any particular event or person that inspired or triggered you to serve the community?
Yes, there are a number of persons, especially my mentor, who motivates me daily. And I must say that I am self-motivated. What I do is to use other person's story as inspiration to push, by looking at these persons and what they were able to achieve based on, their obstacles. It pushes you to say, look, if they can do it, then why not? Why not give it a try? So that has been my main motivation, looking at what other persons done and how they maneuvered the obstacles that they faced to move forward.
So, we as women, we know what struggles we face on an everyday basis, and some of which is so embedded in our everyday life that we do not even realize that this is something going wrong. So,
Yes.
what do you think? How far are we from achieving the SDG goal of gender equality?
As it relates to gender equality, we have to look at then and now. And it is obvious that based on the past events, we have come a far way. And now we have to look at different factors, educational factors, employment factors, political factors, and even domestic violence. All those factors we have to use to explore the progress of gender equality. And what I can say is, based on the occurrences in my country, we have been making a steady progress where gender equality is concerned based on the factors that are listed, such as education. You are now seeing statistics that are showing that there are more women being educated, especially at the tertiary level, than men. And there are more women rising to leadership, especially in the political arena. And
Right.
also, where domestic violence is concerned, there are many advocates out there speaking against domestic violence, both verbal abuse and physical abuse. So because of that, persons are now becoming aware of their rights and of the things that they should accept and not accept. So you find that because of the awareness that has been created by some of these advocates, there's a decline in domestic violence in our surrounding communities, not only where I live in Jamaica, but worldwide. And in the political arena, we can say that worldwide we are now seeing women stepping up to the call of leadership. We saw it in the US. It is just that she was not successful, but she did presented herself to the opportunity that was there. In Jamaica, in the last political administration, we had a female prime minister, and we can also see this trend across the world. As it relates to employment, we have now been seeing where more women are taking up leadership at the managerial level. So it is safe to say that we have been making steady progress where gender equality is concerned.
Right. So, what can we do in our everyday lives on an individual basis to make it a safe place for women?
For women, there are many safe places, and one of the things that we really have to give thanks for is technological advancement, because technological advancement now presents a safe space for women, especially those who do not have anyone to turn to in their immediate environment. There are so many platforms out there. There are so many groups that are providing a safe place for these women to counsel them, to create a shoulder to lean on, to lend an ear so that they can, have someone to talk to about the daily issues that they face. And also, we're seeing more and more women empowerment programs and initiatives out there that are rising to the call to empower women to become a better version of themselves, and also to create awareness so that they can know, the things that are acceptable, the things that are not acceptable, and also so that they can be exposed to opportunities that are out there to help them to rise to the occasion.
Right. So, one factor that we can consider is education. So, what reforms do you think we need in the education system to build better people for the future? Like, considering some of the countries, like in India, we do not even have moral or ethics in the education system that we study. We do not have it as a
Yes,
subject. So, what reforms should we bring in the system?
I'm happy that you asked me that question because education is my passion. And the COVID-19, which is the recent pandemic that we're slowly moving out of, created a new norm for us. And I think we should not have waited until a pandemic, arise to show us that we are currently in a technological age where digital learning is taking over. And with that said, we are now seeing a weakness being stirred where students, vulnerable students who do not have access to resources are now being left behind, especially where online education is concerned, seeing that schools are closed and that's the only avenue we have to continue learning. So one change that I would love to see is more resources being provided for not only children who can access these platforms, but for students who live in the rural areas and inner city areas, for students who have parents who are not been employed. So I think more equality should be focused on where resources are concerned for some of these students. And we should also focus on training programs for our teachers to help them to open their mind to this new norm, because many teachers are struggling because they are used to the traditional way of teaching, which, as I said before, is not benefiting the majority.
Right. So, like, you've been involved in various community programs and volunteering
Yeah.
programs. So,
Yeah.
what do you think are the policymakers not considering while framing policies, and what do you think should be more included so that it is, for the collective benefit for all the people, even those who do not do not have access to the resources that we have?
I think what we could do is to make our voices be heard and partner with other policymakers and stakeholders outside of our countries. So seeing that we're currently in a pandemic, I think this is the perfect opportunity to utilize partnerships so that globally we can come together and create a change to facilitate the utilitarian law, the greater good for the greater number of people, to see how best we can reach out to our children worldwide to help them to access education and also to continue the education process, especially during pandemics and also moving forward, because the world will not go back, it will only move forward.
Right.
So as policymakers, we have to know, see how best we can pool with other stakeholders across the world, stakeholders in both private sector and public sector, to see how they can contribute and give back to help to solve this problem that we're now facing, especially in the education system.
Right. So, since you were the Jamaica Youth Ambassador, can you tell us about that program and the common observations that you could draw from the program?
The Jamaica Youth Ambassador Program is a program that selects ambassadors to advocate on issues that young people face across Jamaica, so that we can be a voice for those young people and bring those issues and concerns to the attention of policymakers, both locally, regionally. I said both, but locally, regionally, and also internationally. Another thing that we do is to meet with other ambassadors across the Caribbean and within the Commonwealth to see how best we can share our concerns and also similar challenges that we face, and to exchange ideas and solutions so that we can bring back those solutions to our home space to create a change.
Okay, so what were the common observations?
And just yes, as one of Jamaica's youth ambassadors, because we have 6 ambassadors,
Okay.
I represent the United Nations.
Okay. So how was the experience like representing the United Nations?
It was an experience that I would not exchange for anything, and I would do it all over again. Because what I can tell you is that the cultural exchange and meeting people from different countries is a wonderful insight. It gives you an opportunity to hear about, other challenges that young people face across the world, and to hear about their creative solutions and ideas to encourage you and to inspire you that you are not alone, and there are many different creative ways that problems can be solved than what you are used to. So those were experiences that I will hold on to for life, and I can say that those experiences molded me, and they pushed me out of my comfort zone and my culture and what I'm used to in my home country.
Okay, so what were the learnings or the takeaways that you could tell the listeners from the Jamaica Youth Ambassador Program?
From the Jamaica Youth Ambassador, an experience that I've garnered is never lower your voice. Always speak on issues that you see out there. There is always someone listening. Even when you do not get an immediate feedback, the issue that you try to address or the issue that you advocate on behalf of, you will definitely see a change, if not an immediate change, a change in the near future. Always ensure that as ambassadors, you try to lead by example, because there's always somebody watching.
Right. So,
And the persons use you as a motivator, they use you as a mentor, they use you as a guide to move forward in what they do in their daily lives. Because remember that as ambassadors, you are basically representing these young people. So they see you as a figurehead. So whatever you do is acceptable for them, for especially for the persons who really do not have a voice. So they think, when they look at you, they think that whatever you do is the right thing to do. So you have to lead by example and ensure that you do the right thing at all times, even when you think no one is watching.
right. So, like, you are being an example for the youth and leading them.
Yes, leading by example.
Right. So, can you tell us about the Jamaica Intensive Reading Clinic? That I found this name very unique in itself, so I wanted to know a bit about it.
It is the Jamaica Intensive Reading Clinic is actually my baby. I have a passion for literacy because of my challenges as a child. I was not able to speak until the age of 4. So I had that speaking difficulty, which I managed to master with the help of my mother. And after moving on to college, I majored in literacy to see how best I could give back and help children who were having literacy challenges and who are having literacy challenges, because we're still going out there and creating programs and helping students across the Caribbean. So what we have been able to do is to pull teachers together, like-minded teachers who are trained, and get them to help us to create programs to help children, especially the vulnerable children who do not have access to quality education in Jamaica, and to create a one-week program, a one-week intense program at different centers across the countries. And to have these children coming in daily from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. and to teach them to master the art of reading by addressing different strands of literacy, such as fluency, comprehension skills, vocabulary development, phonological development, because a child might be excellent in fluency but weak in comprehension. And
Right.
comprehension is linked to critical thinking, which is important in the advancement of today's society. Likewise, a child will be excellent in comprehension skills and critical thinking skills, but poor in fluency, where the reading pace is very, very slow. Likewise, again, another example, you will have a child who is excellent in phonological development, where the pronunciation of their words are excellent, but when it comes on to fluency and comprehension skills, they're very weak. So we cannot just say a child is leading, or a child cannot read because they master a specific strand of reading. We have to use different instruments to test them, to see the different weak areas that they have and address those specific weak areas to say, look, in order to create a fluent and a literacy child, we have to address all the strands of literacy. Those are the different variables that make up literacy. So it's not only about reading and calling words, but it's about critical thinking skills. It's about pronunciation. It's about vocabulary, how well you can spell, how well you can go out there and analyze situations to have, conversations about critical issues across the world, and how well you can break down information to take your examinations to advance in the education system. So those are some of the things that we address and that we hope to continue to address, especially via digital platform as we move towards the new norm. We have been able to impact the lives of over 2,000 children. The first year we had the camp was in 2016, and the idea, one day I was at home and the idea came to mind, and I decided to use Facebook to share that idea. And with that said, I wrote the idea online saying that I'm requesting 400 volunteers. A matter of fact, it wasn't that much. I said I was requesting 100 volunteers. And within the next day, I got over 400 volunteers. And I looked at this and I smiled and I said, wow, this is something that we have to act upon immediately, because with so many interests, one, we cannot disappoint the students who we hope to impact. Two, we cannot waste these volunteers' time. And three, we cannot dampen their spirits. We have to come up with a plan immediately. And with those interests, I gathered a team, which those persons are now my directors in the organization. And together we created a mini plan and called selected specific literacy specialists across the island, gathered them together, and we hosted series of meetings which sought to a successful national camp across the island. Because of the success and the request of parents, we were able to repeat that camp across the island in 2017 and 2018. And we got the attention of the Prime Minister of Jamaica and was recognized by him with the Prime Minister's Youth Award for Excellence. We were actually also recognized by the Governor General of Jamaica. We got an award from him as well. We were recognized by different organizations, including their being a recipient of the Under 30 Emerging Leaders Award and the Musgrave Youth Award for Community Development from the Council of Jamaica, and among other things. So that goes to show it's not about the accolades, but it's about the impact that we have been able to make. And the accolades goes to show that persons are watching and they are seeing the impact that is being created. They're seeing how the change that is being created as well. We did not host the camp in 2019. It was our aim to do it in 2020, but with the pandemic that came about, we will postpone it until 2021. So overall, the reading camp has been a true success. We have been able to make an impact in the lives of the children who we target. And we have over 800 volunteers in our database that we tend to call upon from time to time whenever we have projects going on. We will not be having the reading camp this summer across the island, but we will be having a series of workshops, forums online to empower parents as to how they can better impact their children at home and help with the education process. We starting this Friday, we will be having the Caribbean Digital Literacy Forum, which we will be bringing literacy experts across the Caribbean and different regions of the world to meet together via an online platform, which is Zoom, to help to speak on different topics, to help parents to be inspired and to reignite their hope, for them to know that they're not alone and there are different solutions that they could use to address some of the problems that they face. We will have the first speaker is actually located in Australia, Samantha Johnson, which will be coming on to speak about toolkit for parents, literacy toolkit for parents. We have another speaker who will be coming on Friday, who is originally from Trinidad and Tobago, but she's currently located in Washington, D.C. She will be speaking about access to digital literacy, the way forward. So we're trying to see how best we can look at some of the issues that parents are now facing and where literacy is concerned, and bring experts together to address some of these problems.
So what vision do you have, say, for next 5 to 10 years for the intensive reading clinic?
The vision I have in regard to the reading clinic is to collaborate with the Ministry of Education in Jamaica to see how best we can help the country's literacy rates to move to 100%. We can do it because there are a number of countries across the world whose literacy rate is at 100%.
Right. So,
and we're planning to do it via creative solutions, also with the digital platform that we have been speaking about.
amazing. So, like you've been involved in so many community programs and volunteering programs, like I said. So, what is the most heartwarming moment you've ever experienced that you could see, like the change you've made and impacted someone's life?
Yes. As you said, I've been involved in many organizations. Last year, my tenure ended as the president of the Kiwanis Club of Young Professionals. And the Kiwanis Club is a global organization that goes out to achieve this different SDG goals, particularly the environment, to see how best they can beautify the environment. That I can say was a fulfilling one. And my experience with the Jamaica Intensive Reading Clinic is the most rewarding one. I have to be careful because they're all rewarding, but the most impactful one, the one that, left a real impactful memory in my mind, is with the Jamaica Intensive Reading Clinic summer camp. I remember when we just started out the summer camp I'm not sure how it is in India, but in the United States, you have different states inside of the United States of America.
Right.
In some countries, you have providence, like Canada. In Jamaica, we have what you call parishes. So we have 14 parishes across Jamaica. So in order to reach children across the nation, we identified different locations and hosted the reading clinic in all parishes across the island. And the first day of the reading camp that we had, the supervisors at each center called to say that we are oversubscribed and parents are still outside with children, wanting to bring them in so that they can benefit from the camp. And when the idea came about, to be honest, I limited my mind, which I wasn't expecting so many persons. And to see the support that I got from parents across Jamaica was heartwarming. At one particular center, when we just started out, we had over 300 students at 9 a.m., which we did not have enough resources at the time, because remember that we were just a startup. We were just, it was like a pilot program. So we were just going out there to see how best we can impact the parents with limited resources. And when we saw that remember we have 14 parishes across Jamaica, and I'm just speaking to one parish. And when we realized that we had over 300 parents in that parish, at that center that morning, we said, look, this is bigger than us. And we did what we could, but the following year, we gathered stakeholders in both private and public sectors, and we came out bigger and better. We got the Early Childhood Commission in our country to partner with us. We got the Jamaica Library Service to partner with us. We got different hotels such as Sandals Hotel. We got different banks such as the National Commercial Banks Foundation. We got, I don't want to leave out anyone, but there's so many persons, so they all came on board. Individual entities came on board. Food for the poor, they came on board because we had to provide lunches for the children with consent given by the parents. And so it was heartwarming, and to hear the impact at the end of each session, was a rewarding one and a motivational factor to keep the organization going. to see how best we can not only impact the children that we have access to, but children outside of our reach. And this is one of the main reasons why we want to invest in our online platform, to see how best we can reach out to children, not only in Jamaica, but children across the Caribbean region.
Lovely. So that is really someone longing to make a change.
Yes.
So I,
You see,
right.
I think it takes, overall, it takes passion.
Right.
We have to have a passion for what we do, because once the passion is not there, the light is going to be shining for a while until the task is done. Then you will realize that you start to experience burnout.
Absolutely.
And you start to get demotivated. But once you have the passion, the fire will always be burning, no matter what obstacles you face with the organization and also with the people you interact with.
Right. So it's like do what drives you.
Yes. Yes.
So I also, the question I'm about to ask, I also asked this question to another speaker, but I want to know your perspective, Santana. Like this is 2020 and we still face problems like racism, gender inequality, unemployment. So considering the
Yes.
17 SDG goals we have for 2030, do you think we would be able to achieve the goals?
I think so, because now more than ever, we have more advocates, more persons who are becoming awareness of the importance of gender equality. As you can see, it is evident that persons are now being empowered, that they're out there demonstrating about Black Lives Matter.
Right.
And it's the same thing with gender equality.
Mm-hmm.
We have persons out there on stages speaking, on behalf of the silent, the persons who are not able to speak. We have persons out there who are creating programs to train women, especially at the tender age in schools. We have, different empowerment sessions. We have so many things. We have books, we have resources, we have podcasts rather. So many things helping persons to be empowered and to be aware, about the concept of gender equality. So because of the wide vast of awareness and empowerment, it is going to be easier for stakeholders and for the policymakers who are in the position to make the change, to create the change. Because remember that people are now becoming empowered, people are now becoming aware, people are now becoming curious.
Right.
And with all those factors intertwining, it is easy for persons to accept information that presents itself to them. Which answers your question, I think.
Right, absolutely it does.
Yes.
So, like you spoke about the Black Lives Matter movement. A couple of days
Yes.
ago, I was reading about this article on a blog, I suppose, which said that which were basically against the violent protesters. So the thought that came to my mind was like the world has tried peaceful ways of protesting. So basically, this is not a protest for us now. This is a revolution.
Yes, yes. You find that this generation is more resilient,
right?
Where we utilize grit as we move forward with our daily lives. And not only that we're more resilient, but we are more educated. And we're not only more educated in general, but we are more aware of our past and history. And because we're more aware of our past and history, we're trying everything as a race in our willpower to prevent history from repeating itself.
Right.
And you find it that over time, persons have been speaking out, but we just strongly believe that their voices are not being heard.
Right.
Which is now moving towards the revolution that you're seeing. Persons are tired. They're tired of speaking and not being heard.
Absolutely.
So they think that the best solution now is to put action into place for persons to take them seriously.
Absolutely, very well said. So I would just like to wrap up with this question of what is your message to all the people longing to make a change and facing a lot of struggle in the process? What is your message for them?
Creating a change starts with self.
Absolutely.
You have to know exactly the reason behind the change that you want to create. And when you discover that reason behind the change, you have to ensure that you are passionate about that reason that you have discovered. After you have discovered that reason, you have to now ensure that you identify the persons in the group that you hope to change and ensure that you are genuine towards the cause. Because when you're genuine towards the cause, it will create a natural connection with those people, which will cause them to gravitate to you easier and make the change process easy. So we have to also ensure that we do not only keep our concerns to ourselves, but we voice them even when no one is listening. That we go out there and advocate and fight peacefully for the cause and for the change, even when no one is watching.
Right. So, what is your
And
expectation?
utilize the opportunities that we have, the exposures that we have to create change. Because many times, many of us, we are exposed to opportunities, but we keep it to ourselves. We're exposed to workshops internationally, and we go to some of these workshops and we keep the information to ourselves.
Right.
So, moving forward, we have to go out there and impart our knowledge and the new concepts that we learn daily to others so that they can become as empowered as us to help change the world, because we cannot change the world by ourselves.
Absolutely.
We need a community of people. And in order to help them to realize their true potential to make the change process easier, we have to start with ourselves, and by empowering ourselves to empower them so that they can join us as a community to create change.
Right. So your knowledge or your wisdom is of no use until you keep it to yourself and do not share it with others.
Yes, exactly. Because many times we try to be the superhero. We try to be, the head, the leader at all times. And that is the reason why we become demotivated, we feel pressured, we get, uninspired, because the burden that we feel is more than what we can carry.
Right.
And as I said, that is the reason why it is important that we hold the hands of other persons and empower them so that they can join the community to create change collectively.
Absolutely. So what is your expectation from the Generation Z? That, like, what kind of world would you like to see post next 5 or 10 years?
I'm hoping to see a generation to come that is more inspired than this generation, that is more educated than this generation, and a generation that will help to carry on the work that our foreparents started. Because now I think it is getting easier and easier, given the fact that we are in a globalizing age where globalization is increasing rapidly and technology is also advancing, where communicating with persons across the world is easier. Gone are the days when we had to be writing letters, using telegrams, using post office. Now we can send an email and get an immediate response.
Absolutely.
Now we can create an initiative and get a change maker in another country to share ideas, to share powerful solutions to help us to create change. So I hope that the generation to come will utilize the access that they have to digital advancement, which will even get better as the days goes by, as the years goes by, to create change.
Absolutely. And I hope,
and to move away from negative, such as cyberbullying and
right,
all the other negative aspects and variables that come with digital advancement.
right. And I hope all of us can be catalysts of change in some way, be it on a small level or a bigger level, but
Yeah.
just try being best version of ourselves and serving the society in the best way possible we can.
Yes, exactly. I agree with you.
So thank you, Santana, for the time. Thank you so much. I'm pretty sure you are able to add value to the lives of listeners.
Yes, I
And
hope so too.
Definitely. How do like if someone wants to reach out to you, how do they do that? Can you tell it to the listeners?
Thank you for asking. They can email me at santanamorrisgm@gmail.com, or follow my social media platforms such as my Facebook page, which is Santana Morris GM, or my Instagram page, which is Santana Morris, and my Twitter page, which is Santana Morris. So they're all the same name. A matter of fact, it is Santana N Morris, which is Santana Nicole Morris. So once they enter that name across all platforms, they will find me, and we could communicate and share solution ideas and the solutions to issues that young people face across the world as we continue to advocate and to create a change.
Okay, amazing. Also for the listeners, we'll link her Instagram and website and all social
Yeah.
medias in the bio or the description.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Santana. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening.